Hey, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Tillman. I want to talk to you guys a little bit today about defunding the police. And so I know I've already made a video about it of why we shouldn't defund police. And then I know that there's been other terminology that's come out that said that, hey, we're not defunding police, we're reallocating the funds. Well, what I want to do specifically today is I want to talk to you guys about something that came out of LA Sheriff's Department. Now, if you don't realize, LA County Sheriff's Department is one of the biggest agencies in the country. They have a large budget. Well, in this talks about defunding the police, what they've done is they've identified certain areas that they would like to cut back from. They're actually cutting specific units within the organization that are pivotal for the community's success and safety of the community, and I want to highlight those to you today. The first one that they're actually talking about cutting is the Safe Streets Bureau, which is the gang enforcement team. Well, you might ask, well, why is that so important? Well, you have to realize that in police work, one of the things that I've noticed since I've been a police officer is that there are gangs that exist. As a matter of fact, I realized that gangs existed before I even became an officer. And I understood the dangers of gangs. There's a lot of drugs, there's a lot of murders, there's a lot of violent crimes that occur in the name of the gang that you're with. There's a lot of innocent bystanders that become victims of gangs that are out there on our streets. We just recently saw that in Chicago where an 8-year-old little boy was killed, or 8-year-old little girl that was killed by some gang violence. So we start getting or eliminating the gang team, the gang enforcement team, that's completely detrimental to our communities, because what happens is that there's nobody out there actually proactively trying to stop these people from causing chaos in our cities. Another one that I want to talk about that's actually going to be eliminated, or at least proposed to be eliminated in this, is a Special Victims Bureau. And what that actually classifies is anybody that's suffered or been a victim of sexual or physical abuse of children and or rape and or human trafficking. So I want you to understand something that is so crazy. Human trafficking levels have gone up to all-time highs. Human trafficking on a worldly view is astronomical right now. There's no way to really get a hold on this. Right when we're starting to identify as all law enforcement of what we need to do to combat human trafficking is the moment that they're actually trying to remove the resources out of human trafficking for the sake of defunding the police. That is dangerous. Not only just the human trafficking aspect of it, but let's just say that your family member, your daughter, or somebody was a victim of a rape or some type of sexual crime. Well, who's going to investigate that? You see, if they eliminate this bureau, if they eliminate the Special Victims Bureau, who's going to investigate those dangerous crimes that have occurred to you or your family member? I don't know. Did we give it to patrol? Well, I can tell you that's not going to work, because patrol is already overworked. They're already responding to active calls for service. And on the investigative side of things, that's where the law enforcement excels at, because we can actually take our time and bring these investigations to a successful conclusion. That's just another bureau that's going to be eliminated. Here's another one that's interesting. The Community Partnerships Bureau, the COPS team. Well, you have a lot of people that say, hey, we want more community-based policing. We want more officers out there engaging with our communities. Well, I don't know if you guys know this, but there are many departments out there that exist right now that have organizations within their departments that focus on community policing. Well, now, because of the defunding the police or reallocation of funds, we're now going to eliminate the one thing whose sole purpose was engaging with our community. I don't know if that's the best answer. Here's another one, Fraud and Cybercrimes Bureau. Let me ask you, have you ever been the victim of a cybercrime? I can tell you I have. I can tell you I've actually been the victim of fraud. I can tell you that a few years ago, somebody tried to open up 3 or 4 cellular phone lines in my name, and somebody tried to drive to Texas and buy a Harley Davidson in my name. My credit score, which was really good at the time, is still good, but at the time it's shot down because somebody committed fraud in my name. I can tell you I didn't like the feeling of being a victim to that. Neither should you. So with defunding or reallocation of funds, now we're going to cut those bureaus out because, hey, we can't afford to pay for those people to investigate those crimes. Here's one of the last ones I want to touch on, and this is another major one. It's the Major Crimes Bureau. The Major Crimes Bureau, what they do is they investigate your violent crimes, your homicides, your manslaughters, your murders. Those are the crimes that they're investigating when it goes beyond a patrol level. So if they eliminate that unit, then who is now going to investigate the crime of somebody killing one of your loved ones? Who's going to investigate that crime of you being beat up really, really bad? Who's going to do it? I am one of those guys that agrees 100% that we can be better in policing. We should be. There are many ways that we can improve as a profession. We should have more training. We should have better qualified police officers to police your streets. However, I don't think we should remove policing altogether. I don't believe that we should be eliminating some of these major crime units, because that's not the answer to our problems. We saw what happened in Chaz. And so the reason I'm making this video specifically today is because I want you guys to look this up. You guys can actually go on the LA County Sheriff's Department website and actually see what is going to be eliminated. You guys have to understand what the facts behind what it is that we're asking people to do. And when you understand what they're trying to do, you may not necessarily be as in favor as you were before. So the last thing I'm going to ask, and I'm going to leave you with this, is that, hey, look, there has to come to a place where we have to have humility. We have to humble ourselves. And what that means is that, you know what, at one point I may have been chanting defund the police. At one point I may have been chanting reallocate funding for police. But if you see any of these issues that I just mentioned today and you don't agree with that, you should also be willing to stand up and say, you know what, check myself. We don't need to do that because I don't want them to eliminate that. We have to be able to drop our pride. We have to be able to humble ourselves and have realistic discussions and conversations with each other so that way we can get the best resources for our city as opposed to eliminate the resources that are necessary for community safety and community involvement. I hope you guys go out there and do your own research so that way we can move forward together. Thanks again and God bless.